Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 3, text number 7. Titled Gajendra's Prayers of Surrender. Please repeat. Didrikshavaha Yasya Padam Sumangalam Vimukta Sangaha Munayaha. Is it not on the screen? What? Is it on the screen?
Yes.
Pick up there. Susadavaha Charanti Alokapratam Avranam Vane Bhuta Atma Bhutaha Suridaha Saha Me Gatihi Didikshavo Yasya Padam Samangalam. Surprise, surprise. What a nice surprise to see you all again. Hare Krishna. You just arrived?
No, we just came from, well, we just arrived here in Scotland.
You've been travelling around?
No, we moved up here, we're up here now.
Oh, you're living in Scotland?
Yeah.
All right.
Family.
Where?
Near Falkirk.
Near Falkirk, huh? Wow. Amazing. Pardon?
It's a big road.
A big road?
It's down the road.
M74.
Oh, you're living on the M74. What number is your house on the M74? 23. Fantastic to see you all again. Your children came to New Mayapur, didn't they?
Yeah, we came twice last
Twice,
year.
yeah. Yeah, I remember. Wow, wonderful. So you must like it here, the lovely weather in Scotland. What to do? Hare Krishna. We'll start again. Didrikshavo Yasya Padam Samangalam Vimukta Sangha Manayaksa Susadavaha Charantalokavatam Avanang Mane Bhutatma Bhuta Suritaksa Mekatihi Didikshavo Yasya Padam Samangalam Vimukta Sangha Munayaksa Sadavaha Charantalokavatam Avranang Vane Bhutatma Bhuta Suritaksa Mekatihi Didikshavo Yasya Padam Samangalam Vimukta Sangha Munayaksa Sadavaha Charantalokavatam Avanang Vane Bhutatma Bhuta Suritaksa Mekatihi Didikshavo Yasya Padam Samangalam Vimukta Sangha Munayaksa Sadavaha Charantalokavatam Avanang Vane Bhutatma Bhuta Suritaksa Mekatihi
Yashapadam Sumangalam.
Didrikshavo yasya padam sumangalam.
Mukta Sangha Munaya Sasadava.
Vimukta sangha manayat susadava.
Yanti Aloka Vratam Avranam Vane.
Sarantya loka vatam avranam vane.
Tatma Bhuta Sutta Samigate.
Tatmavuta suridat samegati. Didikshavaha. Those who desire to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yasya, of Him. Padam, the lotus feet. Sumangalam, all auspicious. Vimukta Sangaha, persons who are completely disinfected of material conditions. We had a very nice devotee here in the UK, Vimukta Sangha. Did you ever meet him? I don't know, I haven't seen him for so long. You ever see him? You're a Prabhupada disciple. Very nice dude.
He was selling on painting stuff, very great at business.
He was a long time ago. He'd be 76, 75 years old now. Very wonderful devotee. I think he's still around, but I haven't seen him. Munayaha, great sages. Susadavaha, those who are highly elevated in spiritual consciousness. Charanti, practice. Alokavatam, vows of brahmacharya. Vanaprastha, or sannyas. Avranam, without any fault. Vane, in the forest. Bhuta Atma Bhutaha, those who are equal to all living entities. Suridaha, those who are friends to everyone. Saha, that same Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nay, my, Gatihi, destination. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Renunciates and great sages who see all living beings equally, who are friendly to everyone, and who flawlessly practice in the forest the vows of brahmacharya, vanaprastha, and sannyas, desire to see the all-auspicious lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. May that same Supreme Personality of Godhead be my destination. Purport. This verse describes the qualifications for devotees or persons highly elevated in spiritual consciousness. Devotees are always equal to everyone, seeing no distinction between lower and higher classes. Pandita Samadarshinaha. They look upon everyone as a spirit soul, with part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Thus, they are competent to search for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Understanding that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the friend of everyone. Sridham Sarvabhutanam. They act as friends of everyone on behalf of the Supreme Lord, making no distinction between one nation and another, or one community and another. They preach Krishna consciousness, the teachings of Bhagavad Gita everywhere. Thus, they are competent to see the lotus feet of the Lord. Such preachers in Krishna consciousness are called Paramahamsas. Interesting. As indicated by the word Vimukta Sangha, they have nothing to do with material conditions. One must take shelter of such a devotee in order to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just a few points here in the purport, which you may pick up a few other points also. One point, which is a simple clarification, here, Prabhupada writes here, such preachers in Krishna consciousness are called Paramahamsas. So, explain that. Who would like to explain it? Anyone else? I'm not denying your offer to explain it, by the way. I just wonder if anyone else would like to venture an explanation. Good. Okay. Anybody else? Is English okay with you?
Yes.
Perfectly okay.
But Paramahamsa is not a very English word.
Yeah, it's not an English word, no. Yes, Raymond.
Prabhupada says that because one who has understood
Louder if you can.
one who has understood the preaching and distribution of books is the essence, is Paramahamsa. That's what I think.
Very nice point. Very nice point. The preaching and distribution of books is the essence. Okay. How is it in relationship with Paramahamsa means? What does Paramahamsa mean?
Swan?
Swan.
Is it something like supreme swan?
You're right. You're in the right direction. That's for sure.
Param is supreme, isn't it?
Supreme, yeah.
And isn't Hamsa meaning like
Swan. Yeah. Topmost swan-like devotee, isn't it? Paramahamsa. Topmost swan-like devotee. Paramahamsa.
Paramahamsa is like the swan, because the swan can extract milk from a lake, and so he can extract the essence.
Do you have any Paramahamsas here? We can save on the milk bill. You can go down to the lake and get milk. Yes, that's one of the characteristics. Well, one of the, you can say, examples given of the Paramahamsa. There are many different examples could be given. That's one of them, Paramahamsa. But in regards to this statement here, such preachers in Krishna consciousness are called Paramahamsas. Is that what we normally hear? Yes and no, but we don't normally hear that. What do we hear? Preachers are?
Madhyamadicaris.
Generally Madhyamadikari, which is, in terms of Paramahamsa, what would it be called? Well, Paramahamsas are normally termed Uttama. But when we use the word Paramahamsa, we're often referring to the topmost devotees, who generally are not known. Now, there's an interesting line before that, making no distinction between one nation or another, or one community or another. They preach everywhere. Now, normally it's the Parivrajacharya who travels and preaches in the order of sannyasa or renunciation. Anyway. They're Parivrajakacharyas, they're going everywhere preaching. And yeah, you can say they're Madhyamadikaras, if we say Paramahamsas, Uttama. So what are the characteristics of a Madhyamadikari? They distinguish, don't they? So here it says there's no distinguishing. So what's the correlation between these?
they say you treat everybody equally by treating everybody differently.
Well, that's a kind of like you could say, an angle of vision when you say, and the way we distribute or preach Krishna consciousness by Harinam Sankirtan Party. But I get the point here that what we're hearing here is that the real preacher is a Paramahamsa, is Uttama Bhagavan. And he takes the role, which Prabhupada says, of a Madhyam, in that sense, and travels and preaches. He's not a Madhyamadikari, he's not on that level of distinction, but for the sake of, let's say, preaching the message of Krishna consciousness, that soul, a Madhyamadikari isn't on that level normally of being able to really see every living entity spiritually, seeing the soul. Vidyavanaya Sampane Brahmani Gavi Hashmi Shunichaiva Shripati Chapandita Samadarshana. Prabhupada refers to that verse here. He's absolutely equal. We're maybe not on that platform, and it's a fact. The Madhyamadikari is not. We can't see that. Even Prabhupada said, do you see every, a man was saying, do you see the soul in everybody? Prabhupada said, our equality is that we preach Krishna consciousness everywhere, to anyone. We're not necessarily seeing the soul in every living entity as such. Theoretically, we understand that. But we can't imitate the Paramahamsa or the Uttama Bhagavan. And they don't generally, because they're already seeing every other living entity in their eternal position as spiritual beings. In fact, they see every other living entity more advanced than themselves, so where's the preaching there? So they take the position, not that they become a Madhyamadikari, they take the position of a Madhyamadikari. And they're the real preachers because they're realized souls. They're the realized souls. We're following. Generally speaking, we're trying to follow, in one sense, we're trying to follow the Madhyamadikari, but we're following, to really advance, we're following the Madhyamadikari, not just somebody who's a preacher and distinguishes between God, the devotees, the innocent and the non-devoted, but we're following a Paramahamsa who's playing that part and showing expertly. These Paramahamsas do this according to time, place, and circumstance. Whether it's Prithu Maharaj or whoever it may be, Ambarish Maharaj, they show people how to perform the particular yajna which is required for the time and circumstance, a yajna which will benefit everyone. The equality which is there in the sense of a preacher is that the preaching of Krishna consciousness is universally beneficial. It's good for everyone. Whether you like it or don't like it, everyone still gets some benefit there from the Sankirtan movement. It's equal to all, open to all. Of course, we can say it depends on the reciprocation of the receiver, but they still get something, even if they're negative. So this is the mood for the Uttama Adhikari. Of course, he can do that, and Prabhupada was able to, of course, he could preach anywhere to anyone, practically speaking, no doubt about that. But he told us that we should be a little bit intelligent and use a little discretion. So Madhyamadikari distinguishes between the two. Generally, the Paramahamsa doesn't. He doesn't. He's transcendentally situated, absorbed in spiritual absorption in Krishna consciousness and so on, and sees everyone as a spirit soul. So they take that, they step down, probably uses the term, step down to the level of a madhyam in order to preach and to show the example so we can follow and be a part. But the essential feature is mentioned here, one must take shelter of such a devotee in order to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Madhyamadikari generally doesn't see. He acts in a way, in other words, in one sense, he's acting on that he's kind of acting on that liberated platform, but we're not actually seeing with the eyes of a Paramahamsa or a liberated soul, but we're acting, following in their footsteps. And this is the means by which one can come to the platform of understanding, personality of Godhead. Prabhupada quotes the verse in the Bhagavad Gita. Which verse does he quote here in terms of a friend of everyone? Pardon? You're on the right track there. What about? Yeah, Suridam Sarvabhutanam, the friend. It starts with Bhoktaram Yagatapasam, doesn't it? Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. There are many verses in the Bhagavad Gita. That verse particularly refers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead equality, because everyone is part and parcel of the Lord. Everything comes from Krishna. It's all his energies, isn't it? Just manifested differently, but they're all energies of Krishna. So everything is to Krishna. Maybe your finger is diseased or something, but you're very concerned for it. You may have to put it under some medication of some kind. You take great interest. So the Lord, even in the fallen conditioned souls, Krishna takes very great interest in their welfare, you could say. And he doesn't just ignore them or write them off as, dead loss. You okay? Jai, Totinittai Mayapur Shakshi, Jai. Oh. But here's the Saint Prabhupada's example of the government. They, although there are errant citizens who act against the government law, they may be arrested as criminals. The government still provides for them. Of course, it may be the case in some place they just annihilate them, I don't know. But generally they provide some facilities for their, the idea is reformation. I don't know, it may not be a work, it may not work, but that's the idea, to reform their consciousness. And whichever way you look at it. The whole purpose of the material creation is not just to facilitate the, the independent desires of the conditioned souls, but it's to actually give them a chance to become Krishna conscious. That's the idea. And obviously, that means they have to associate with Krishna consciousness, or it will never happen, will it? There's no way on their own that we can become Krishna conscious. It's like in a prison. If everyone in the prison is a criminal, it's pretty hard to change one's criminal mentality. It's by association. And the Prabhupada says here, one must take shelter of a devotee, of such a devotee, of Paramahamsa. Ultimately, we're beyond, transcendental to these modes of nature. They're above the modes. As mentioned here, this vimukta sangha, they're basically above the modes of nature. By that association, one's perception, one's consciousness can change. Otherwise we continue. If we all remain neophytes, then, we'll always be in that platform. It'll be very slow, very difficult to advance. We have to advance to the Madhyam platform at least. And then ultimately we have to follow an Uttama Bhagavat if we want to transcend this material world. That's the idea. So the Uttama may take that role of the Madhyam, and we follow them, and by practically following them in that way, then one can gradually become, develop the darshan that they have, the vision that they have, the vision that they have, Krishna, to see everything in relationship with Krishna. We may not see it in the sense of the totally spiritual eyes, but we're learning to see everything in relationship with Krishna. Isn't that a fact? Is that not what it is? Isn't it? Let's get the Bhagavad Gita. Do we have a Bhagavad Gita here? There we are. Thank you. In the Bhagavad Gita, we find many times this vision. I think we do. Maybe I'm wrong. If you read the 26 qualities of a devotee, of which you may be aware of some of them, are they pinned up on the notice board somewhere, Dakshika Prabhu? The 26 qualities? No, it's nice to put them up. Pardon? Put them up up on the board there if you can find 26 qualities of a devotee. Nice to see the qualities. It's time for. They did pretty good. They did pretty good. They lasted almost 13 minutes. That's pretty good. Where do they go to school? Somewhere in Falkirk or what?
Homeschooling.
You're homeschooling. Huh? You're homeschooling. You're working, aren't you? You're the worker. Something like that. Good. Yeah, well, in the absence of a school, I guess we haven't got an Avanti school in Falkirk yet. Not too far from Stirling, is it?
It's about 7 miles.
Yeah, very close. Next door
7
neighbour.
miles.
Next door neighbour.
8 miles.
Good. We used to go there a lot on Sankirtan. Falkirk. It's quite good, if I remember rightly. It's good. Is Falkirk okay for Sankirtan?
We went there twice last year. The first day was
The second day was good.
it was okay for him.
It was okay.
It was so-
Probably been overdone, probably. Yeah, the 26 qualities of a Vaishnava. I don't have them in front of me, so I can't pinpoint. Yeah, but as I said last night, I'm not Lord Brahma. I don't have eyes in the back of my head. I don't think they're listed here. I'd have to have a list. It's a long time. But we used to have these 26 qualities when I first visited the temple, maybe the first month or year, I don't know, but quite a while. They were on literally every door. Every door had a copy of the 26 qualities pinned on them. Even in the bathroom, when you're there doing what you do in the toilet, they were on the wall facing you there. You could memorize them as you do what you do. Well, you have to sit down, not the one that goes the other way. Which way you go when you do it, and I forget that. But they were in the toilet anyway. And they were on pretty much every door. The idea was to remember them. I don't remember them now. I probably remembered them then. But how a devotee is a kind friend to every living entity, isn't he? Just like the Goswamis. Now the Goswamis, 6 Goswamis, Diro Di Rajanopiyo Piyakaro Nimatsaro Pujito. They're equal friends to both the gentle and the ruffians. Because in Scotland you only have gentle people in Scotland. You don't have any ruffians up here. You don't know what they are. Do you?
There's a lot of substance abusers in Scotland.
Excuse me?
A lot of substance abusers.
Substance abusers?
Yeah.
Substance abusers.
Like it.
That's an interesting term. A very kind way of saying things. We just, and maybe I mentioned it last night in class or not, I can't remember, but we just came from New York a few days ago. And it's quite a surprising change since the last time I was in New York, at least. The whole time, I mean literally the whole time we were in Manhattan, the only thing you could smell was pot. Nothing else. Every square inch. The whole city smelled of pot. You know what pot is? The whole city. He's getting excited. He wants to go to New York. Even if you don't smoke, you're inhaling it all day long. It's incredible. It's just like the new smell of New York. Yeah. Whether you call that substance abusers or not, I suppose you could. Maybe it makes people a little bit more dull, a little bit more peaceful in many ways. But aside from the abuse of substances, some people are overly affected by the mode of ignorance and can very easily become aggressive or angry, isn't it? quite easy. It might be related, of course, to the misuse of substances in many cases, but not always. Some people have just got that conditioning, karmic conditioning, and or they're naturally criminal by nature. But of course, we use again discrimination of the Majjhima purposely go there. We do give the opportunity. We do give that opportunity. Prasadam, the holy name, sometimes books. But devotee doesn't have anything against anyone. We have no friend or enemy from the material perspective. Because everyone's Krishna's part and parcel. And Krishna's in the heart of everyone. Krishna's there. In their heart, guiding their wanderings according to their karma and their desire. Guiding their wanderings. So we see Krishna's hand working. We may not see Krishna. We may not see the soul, but we see Krishna's hand at work. We find in the 10th and 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, particularly, Krishna gives a lot of statements to help us to, 9th chapter also, to help us to see Krishna's hand, see his hand working, doesn't it? Whatever we look at, we can remember Krishna's presence therein. We may not see it, but we can remember his presence. And that's the idea of how we become Krishna conscious, to remember Krishna in everything. Prabhupada said, don't exactly try to see Krishna, but act in a way Krishna will see us. Mm-hmm. So we follow the Paramahamsa acting in the role of a Madhya. Well, Madhya, yeah. It's also if they're following a Paramahamsa, it's okay. And we act in that way, that equality way. We try to spread the holy name everywhere, distribute prasadam everywhere, do whatever we can to make that possible. And try to remember Krishna in happiness and distress. That's one of the first premises. Of course, the first premise in Bhagavad Gita is to tolerate it. That's not necessarily, a devotee. Somebody who's maybe just Brahman realized may also tolerate. But a devotee tolerates, should do. Not just because everything is spirit or that you're on a spiritual platform, but because everything is Krishna's. The hand is working in everything. Sees Krishna in everything. And by acting in that way, then naturally, Krishna is naturally very pleased. Let's read some verses if we can find them. Where in the Bhagavad Gita, you're going to have to remind me, does Krishna talk about the vision? Let's go to the 2nd chapter. You can remind me of other places. In the 2nd chapter, around about the middle of the later part of the 2nd chapter, 50-something, Arjuna asks a question, doesn't he? He says, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is merged in transcendence? How does he speak? What is his language? How does he sit? How does he walk? We'll take that perhaps literally in terms of a material understanding of that. How does he sit? He sits in lotus position, right? That's probably, you might think like that. How does he walk? Oh, very gracefully. You might think like that, Let's see what Krishna said. O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, which arise from mental concoction, which is the Mukta Sangha, and when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, he's said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. He's more or less, you could say, on the Brahman platform. One who is not disturbed in mind, even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a sage of steady mind. In the material world, one who is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising it nor despising it, is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as the tortoise draws its limbs within the shell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. Though the embodied soul, then we go on to the next section, very famous verses of how, basically how we become conditioned. There's one section describing the nature of such advanced souls. What other sections are there? We could look at the divine and divinity, isn't it? I'm trying to get my brain awake here. Divine and divinity. Right at the beginning, isn't it? Here it is. The demoniac person thinks. So much wealth. No, that's not the right verse. Right at the beginning, Krishna explains the divine. Here it is. Long purport. The divine, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge. This is, in many ways, this is the process, this is the nature of one who's following the path of divinity, at least. Following those who are divine. Charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, freedom from envy, and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharat, belong to godly men endowed with divine nature. So we try to associate with those who have these qualities, these divine qualities. If we look in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which you probably don't have here, what's that verse? Tikshva Karunika. Who knows that verse? Lord Kapila Dev. Tikshva Karunika. Yeah, we used to know all these nice verses. I don't think it's quoted in detail. Let me see. If you don't use them, you lose them. I don't know in this version if it has this. Oh yes, it does. It's good. Some of the versions don't have it. It's so small, I don't know if I can read it. Saving paper, I think. My word, it's so small. Tiny. No, it's not quoted in here. If anyone can, I'm sorry I jumped over your 26 qualities here. Find it on your mobile. Titikshava Karunika, third canto, chapter 25, maybe text 24, some 22, 23, something like that. 21, okay, there you go. Show it to me. You can't go straight there, huh?
No, it's
Huh? It's on the board? Good. Here it comes. Oh, it's gone.
not ones.
Huh? Stop. Suda Sarvadehinam. He's friendly to all living entities. Suda Sarvadehinam. How you're friendly may vary. This being equal to all doesn't mean everyone's the same. They're the same spiritually, but they're different conditioning. So we relate to people accordingly. And Krishna says the same thing, doesn't he? If they surrender to me, I reward them all. Reciprocate accordingly. The symptoms of a sadhu are that he is tolerant, merciful, and friendly to all living entities. He has no enemies. He is peaceful. He abides by the scriptures. All of his characteristics are sublime. He's equal to all. Friend of everyone. And then, there's such a nice purport. We don't have much more. We should have all day to read this. A sadhu as described above is a devotee of the Lord. His concern, therefore, is to enlighten people in devotional service to the Lord. That is his mercy. He knows that without devotional service to the Lord, human life is spoiled. A devotee travels all over the country from door to door preaching. Be Krishna conscious. Be a devotee of Lord Krishna. Don't spoil your life in simply fulfilling your animal propensities. You have to tell them in Falkirk and Stirling. There's some misusers of substances there. You have to deliver me. Human life is meant for self-realization or Krishna consciousness. These are the preachings of a sadhu. He's not satisfied with his own liberation. He always thinks about others. He's the most compassionate personality towards all the fallen souls. There's two types, isn't it? Bhajananandi and Gostyanandi. So the Paramahamsas, in one sense, are one or the other. And the Gostyanandi preaches. He's Paramahamsa, he preaches. Therefore, one of the qualifications is Karunika, great mercy to the fallen souls. While engaged in preaching work, he has to meet with so many opposing elements, and therefore the sadhu or devotee of the Lord has to be very tolerant. Someone may ill-treat him because the conditioned souls are not prepared to receive the transcendental knowledge of devotional service. They do not like it. That is their disease. The sadhu has the thankless task of impressing upon them the importance of devotional service. Sometimes devotees are personally attacked with violence. Lord Jesus Christ was crucified. Haridas Thakur was caned in 22 marketplaces, and Lord Chaitanya's principal assistant, Nityananda, was violently attacked by Jagai and Madai, but still they were tolerant because their mission was to deliver the fallen souls. One of the qualifications of the sadhu is that he's very tolerant and is merciful to all fallen souls. He's merciful because he's the well-wisher of all living entities. Panchakalpatrubyas Chavi. He's a well-wisher of all. He's not only a well-wisher of humans, but a well-wisher of animal society as well. Not just humans or your own human group. He's, as Prabhupada says in the purport, to all nations, to all communities. He's merciful to all living entities, no matter what they are. He treats them for their benefit. The devotee of the Lord not only does the human being have a material body, but other living entities such as cats and dogs also have material bodies. Rabbits and hamsters also have material bodies. The devotee of the Lord is merciful to everyone. Cats, dogs, trees, etc. He treats all living entities in such a way that they can ultimately get salvation from this material entanglement. Shivananda saying, one of the disciples of Lord Chaitanya gave liberation to a dog by treating the dog transcendentally. There are many instances, and there's a Paramahamsa, Shivananda saying he delivered a dog. We may not be able to do that, but we can give the dog prasadam, beginning of its liberation. Or they may hear something, and they may not understand what they're hearing when you chant Hare Krishna. You can't generally sell a book to a dog. Have you ever succeeded there? Selling a book to a dog? Or cat? Not yet, huh? Dog-like mentality, maybe, but not a literal dog. As we see Sivananda saying, or Chaitanya in the forest of Jharkhandi, he brought all the animals to the spiritual platform. There are many instances where a dog got salvation by association with a sadhu, because a sadhu engages in the highest philanthropic activities for the benediction of all living entities. Yet, although a sadhu is not inimical towards anyone, the world is so ungrateful, even a sadhu has enemies. What is the difference between enemy and friend? It is a difference of behavior. A sadhu behaves with all conditioned souls for their ultimate relief from material entanglement. Therefore, no one could be more friendly than a sadhu in relieving a conditioned soul. So we should try to follow the sadhu. Then you're acting as a sadhu. You're following the government, you're acting in the same way, basically. You may not be the government, you may not be the king, but you're following the king, you're representing the king, you're doing the work of the king. Anyone who follows you, or the representative of the king, is also following the king. One makes progress. Therefore, no one can be more friendly than a sadhu in relieving a conditioned soul. A sadhu is calm, and he quietly and peacefully follows the principles of Scripture. A sadhu means one who follows the principle of Scripture and at the same time is a devotee of the Lord. One who actually follows the principles of Scripture must be a devotee of God. because all the scriptures or shastras instruct us to obey the orders of the personality of Godhead. Therefore, sadhu means a follower of the scriptural injunctions and a devotee of the Lord. All these characteristics are prominent in a devotee. A devotee develops all the good qualities of the demigods. Yasti bhaktir bhagavat kinchana gunasavatas tatasmasado saro radha bhaktasya katomanati pradobhahi manosarena sati davatobahi, something like that. Memory. What does it mean? When it becomes a devotee, automatically develops all the divine qualities, at least the qualities of the demigods, the higher qualities of demigods, not their passionate qualities. Whereas one who is not a devotee, what good, even if they seem to have good qualities, what's the use of those qualities? They're no use. People in the material world may be decorated nicely, they may look like they've got nice qualities, but what's the use? They're misusing them. They're using them for the wrong purpose, mundane purposes. Sadhu uses those, whatever, and other people's qualities. He engages them in the service of Krishna. Automatically, by fully engaging in the service of Krishna, all good qualities will come. May take some time, but they come. A devotee develops all the good qualities of demigods, where a non-devotee, even though academically qualified, has no actual good qualifications or good characteristics according to the standard of transcendental realization, because they're misused. Qualities are meant to be used in the service of the Supreme Lord. They belong to Him. And now let's read the next verse. Such a sadhu engages in staunch devotional service to the Lord without deviation. For the sake of the Lord, he renounces all other connections, such as family relations and friendly acquaintances within the world. The next verse. Engaged constantly in chanting and hearing about me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sadhus do not suffer from material miseries, because they're always filled with thoughts of my pastimes and activities. It's the nature of a transcendentalist. He may appear to go through the same when he takes that role, the same things that an ordinary person goes through with old age and disease and death and what have you, or be crucified. But they're transcendental. They're absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. And this is, again, a lesson to learn for us. The more we try to, when we're, suffering, we're kind of always suffering, but when we're aware that we're suffering, it's a good incentive to remember Krishna. We should try to remember that. We may be a little bit motivated or whatever, but it's a good incentive to practice that. And one of the main lessons of this Gajendra Moksha pastime is that, where Prabhupada, I don't know which we read it or not read it, but Prabhupada says in this section that you should practice chanting various mantras. So that when that time comes, like Gajendra, when he was in a helpless situation, basically, he was nothing more he could do. Suddenly he remembered his previous lifetime, and he was able to recollect from a previous lifetime verses, prayers, praying. His prayers to the Lord are a result of his previous practice. It's out of nowhere. So Prabhupada said we should also do like that, by more practicing chanting, not just the Hare Krishna mantra. Prabhupada refers to Chintamani, Prakash, the Brahma Samhita, and other similar prayers. We should chant these prayers. So they come, they're there in our consciousness, and they come when they automatically. The more we practice, the more our consciousness will be pervaded by these verses and this remembrance of Krishna when the time comes. And the next verse, which is wonderful. O my mother, O virtuous lady, these are the qualities of great devotees who are freed from all attachment. You must seek attachment to such holy men. For this counteracts the pernicious effects of material attachment. So that's the system, is to associate with these devotees. We haven't got time to read the purport, it's a very long purport. And probably the most, well, along with Tadiksha Karunika, Sudam Sadabhusha, whatever it is, along with that verse, this verse is possibly the most quoted. Satam pasangam mama virya sangvido bhavanti vidkana vasayana kataha tadoshanarashva bhavagavatmani shadavati bhakti anukrameshyati. In the association of pure devotees, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation, and thereafter he is freed and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begin. Very wonderful verse of Lokapila. So by associating with those devotees, cultivating devotional service under their direction, gradually our attachments or our misconceptions or imperfect perceptions in this world are rectified. We start to see things in relation with Krishna instead of just ourselves or someone else, but in relation with Krishna by being in their association. Everyone here knows that when you're in association with advanced devotees, we start to see things in relation with Krishna, isn't it? Of course, they remind us in so many ways, but that's their business, is somehow to remind us of our relationship with Krishna. By associating in that way, gradually, the heart becomes purified of all the coverings and misconceptions and so on. We also start to see things like that. We may not be on that level, but when we start to see things like that, then real devotion service begins. When it's no longer tinged and anyabilasita shunyam jnana kamadinavitam. It has no other motivation. And akulyena Krishna Mishla means following these great devotees, we cultivate devotional service and become pure in our practices in time. But we have to hear from Guru Shastra Sadhu carefully and learn how to apply it. We need help how to apply it. Otherwise we tend, with our imperfect or a conditional perception, to choose the verses that fit our imperfect vision, our imperfect ideas, our materialistic ideas. And that's a common one which we do. We find a verse which justifies our conditioning, isn't it? And then we make a whole argument based on that to try to establish ourselves in some sort or another. But the whole idea of Krishna consciousness is the change of heart, change of perception. That's evoked by association with those who have perfect vision. Essential verse in the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, isn't it? Tadvidi Pranipatina. Where else in the Bhagavad Gita does Krishna talk about this vision or this nature of the transcendentalist? 13th chapter, I think, isn't it? Maybe in the 3 modes of nature also, I'm not sure, but I think in the 13th chapter. Here. This is nice. It's not exactly, but it's very nice. What is knowledge? What is knowledge? It does cover many of these things. What is knowledge? Now, obviously, for most people, knowledge means some material learning, history or geography or mundane science, whatever it is, that type of stuff. But here Krishna says, humility. Humility, the first point of knowledge. It doesn't sound like knowledge. Pridelessness to an ordinary person. Non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master. Cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the object of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil of birth, death, old age, and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, even-mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization, and philosophical search for the absolute truth. All these I declare to be knowledge. Besides this, whatever there may be, is ignorance. Quite contrary to what most people would discern as being knowledge. Why? Because this is the path of real knowledge. This is the path of realization. It may not help you to get a degree in some mundane subject matter, but this will release us from the whole material world of The illusion, the prison house of this material world. This is knowledge, that which releases one. Isn't it? Knowledge, that which releases one from ignorance. In the material world, that's the idea of knowledge to a certain extent as well, isn't it? To clear up ignorance. You stupid man, you don't know. When Britain won the Battle of Hastings, was it? No. You caught me. You got me there. You've got to know all these things, otherwise you've wasted your life. All this history, you have to know your history. Have you been taught the English history now? Do you know the English history? So. You know about Hadrian's Wall. You've got to know about Hadrian's Wall. You know about Hadrian's Wall, don't you? No. You're from the other side of the wall, so you're okay, you can know about it. But on this side, it's...
In the USSR countries, England is like, topmost enemy.
Huh?
And, in Russia especially, England is like the country which always provides some wars all around the world.
All makes wars.
Yeah,
the war makers.
It's really famous for this.
That's why my name, I'm the typical example, my name was Warman. So I'm really one of those. That was my name. My family name was Warman. Oh my goodness. It doesn't mean that actually. It comes from the German Warman, which actually means of God. But in English it's Warman. Interesting, huh? Yeah. Making it war, so be careful. Be careful who you're associating here. And here's a whole bunch of them in nature and enjoy it. How those pure devotees see, know that whatever you see in existence, both moving and non-moving, is only a combination. This is philosophical perception, you could see. Only a combination of the field of activism, the knower of the field. One who sees the super soul accompanying the individual soul in all bodies and who understands that neither the soul nor the super soul within the destructible body is ever destroyed actually sees. And this is seeing the soul within everyone, basically. One who sees the super soul equally present everywhere in every living being does not degrade himself by his mind. Thus, he approaches the transcendental destination. Mentioned in the verse which we just read, same thing. One who can see that all activities are performed by the body, which is created of mature nature, and sees that the self does nothing, actually sees. When we identify with the body, we think we're the doer, huh? We think we're doing so many things. When a sensual man ceases to see different identities due to different material bodies, and he sees how beings are expanded everywhere, he attains to the Brahman conception. Thus, with the vision of eternity, those with the vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is transcendental, eternal, and beyond the modes of nature. Despite contact with the material body or Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled. It goes on like that. Those who see with the eyes of knowledge the difference between body and the knower of the body, and can also understand the process of liberation from bondage and material nature, attain the supreme goal, the Paramgati. Hare Krishna. I see the clock is now ticking by, and Dr. Prabhu is just checking his watch. It's your day off today, you've got to make advantage of it. Take advantage of it. It's a nice day to go to the beach. A day off. Is it your day off also?
My day off?
Mm.
I don't think I have a day off.
Every day's off. In the material world, every day's off. Never ends. So many, unlimited subject, but the essence is to associate with such a personality who has that transcendental vision. directly or indirectly, but at least to follow the instructions which they give, the examples which they give. We follow their path, and gradually we can progress towards that destination, that supreme destination. Back to Godhead. Any comments, questions? Alan.
Thank you so much. That was a really enjoyable, wonderful class.
Enjoyable, that's good. It's nice if we can do it. It's meant to be, isn't it? Tushunticha, Ramanticha. It's meant to be joyfully performed. Tushunticha, Ramanticha. Wonderful. Any other questions? Comments? Maybe was that the comment? Was there a question behind
It's just a comment.
Well, it's only if wonderful. Only if we as Prabhupada said, Krishna is wonderful, beautiful. Is wonderful. Their words are wonderful. We repeat those wonderful words in whatever way we can, and be in the right way. It's wonderful. Nothing we do. We're just repeating Prabhupada's words. We hope, anyway. Yes, Krishna Prabhupada.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being. I didn't know. No one told me you were living here. How long have you been here?
Only, well, a couple of weeks, everybody.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
Maybe did you know? Did you know that? Have you?
I know, yeah. I heard in the Vedas that there's Vidya, Avidya, and Paravidya. Is that a microphone? So that there's knowledge and there's ignorance and then there's transcendental knowledge. And but then also that all of this so-called knowledge can be classified as avidya because it's not knowledge of the self. So like you're knowing more about nothing. So I just heard those different divisions as you were mentioning, like what is knowledge? Like humility, pridelessness, non-violence is actual knowledge.
Mentions that. Even knowledge in the material world, you could say in the mode of goodness, the welfare knowledge of how to help people psychologically, mentally, physically, knowledge that leads to the heavenly planets, piety. So many pieties, in one sense, is all ignorance. It's all within the material realm. And that, in one sense, is one of the, you could say, lessons we learn when Vyasadeva had compiled all the Vedic literatures. Certainly there was transcendental knowledge there, but it was shrouded over with, pretty much other types of knowledge. Even if it was good knowledge of how to live in this world in an elevated way, it wasn't knowledge. It was there, but people wouldn't really catch it. So that's why the Srimad Bhagavatam was compiled, to help people to transcend even the mode of goodness, to come to the transcendental platform. It's quite amazing. That's not to say that this other knowledge is to be, as we mentioned earlier, like Prithu Maharaj, for instance, he was performing various karmakandya yajnas here, there, and everywhere, but he was doing it in such a way to help people to do it properly, according to the Vedas, and at the same time to understand the purpose behind it, and not just the activity itself. The real purpose behind it is not just to elevate to the heavenly planets, or to, bring about rain, or, get freed of reactions or something, which most people consider the purpose of religion. But the actual purpose is, of course, to become Krishna conscious or God conscious. So we do it in such a way. We do this, devotees could or should maybe do the same thing. They may also take advantage of that. I was with Janatai 2 days ago, and you were there when he was there in Soho Street? Or you?
No, I know he's in London. We were in contact, but I wasn't.
You were living in the temple when he was there?
Yeah, we were.
You joined with Mahajuti was there, didn't you?
Yeah.
And then you were also there when Janatai was president there? Okay. So, well then he was doing some yajnas. Of course, they're probably devotees, but even if they're not, when a devotee does these type of things, and not that we have to do that, by the way, but he's doing it, and then they try to Krishnaize these things. We take advantage in the month of Kartik. Now, I don't know if you do it here, but in Malaysia and many countries, they do like, I don't know how many, 10,000 programs or something during Kartik. Every night there's like 20 devotees, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 devotees doing programs every night in different houses. And, the people are, generally speaking, materialistic. They're not practicing devotees. But they do this program and they like it, the puja and some of the rituals a little bit there. And then, of course they pay for it, they give a donation, and they chant Hare Krishna, and they leave books with them and prasadam with them. It's, introducing it in this various way. That's not our prime program, but I'm just saying that this is one way that when we utilize people's hard-earned money, and they have a hard time giving up their money, don't they? They're so attached to their money, or whatever it is. They're so attached, so devotees try to utilize their, materialistic illusions in Krishna service in various ways. Engaging them in devotional service, even though their activities are, less important in that sense. Although Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita in the second chapter. Second or third chapter? Third chapter. How we should engage them in acts of devotion somehow or another, even though their activities are inferior. So like that, we try to engage this inferior knowledge in Krishna service. They have knowledge of how to build roads, and we try to engage in building roads for Krishna. We just had that in New Mayapur. I mean, these friends of the movement, I say, just did all the roads, and they fixed up the wall in front. They're free of charge. We just paid for the materials. They did all the work, professional. They all did all the work free of charge. It would have cost about 50,000 euros if we had to pay for it. So that way we engage their qualities, material they may be, we engage them in Krishna service. They get unlimited benefit. And they get prasadam. I remember when the Bhagavatams arrived, Srimad Bhagavatams, after 35 years, we managed to get the French Bhagavatam back in print. When it arrived, it was a Ukrainian driver actually, driving the truck. The truck came from Lithuania. The books were in Belgium. The driver was from Ukraine. International endeavor. The books were printed in India, shipped by a Greek shipping line. I see it all over the world. The paper came from, I think it came from China. I'm not sure. It was a real international endeavor, and it took us days for the man to find. He didn't speak a word of English or French. He got lost in the French countryside somewhere. The company that was handling the thing would not give us his phone number. It's against their principles. We had to talk to them, and then they talked to him, and then they get back to us. And we just didn't meet. He couldn't find us, because if you put the GPS number in, which he did, it doesn't bring you to New Mayapur. It takes you somewhere else. So he was going around in circles for days. Eventually I met him early in the morning. I was driving around myself for hours a day trying to find him. 2 or 3 of us. And eventually I met him at a roundabout in a village nearby. He was coming down the road. I got a picture of the truck. I actually saw the truck before, but I didn't know it until eventually they sent me a picture of the truck that he was driving. So I recognized the truck and waved him down on the roundabout as we were going round. And we stopped. And then we drove him, guided him back to New Mayapur. So then we unloaded all the books, about 30 pallets of books off the truck, maybe more than that. I think more than that, because there was many books there. It wasn't just the Bhagavatam. It was like 8,000 sets of Bhagavatam and 10,000 Gitas. I mean, there was a lot of books came in anyway, whatever it was. And 10, much more than 30. Anyway, whatever it was, it was. And so we unloaded them all. The local farmer came over, because we don't have any means. He didn't have a thing to take the books down. These big trucks don't have them. You've got to have your own, forklift truck to get them off. Didn't have anything. So the local neighbor came over. He came over for a cake. Got a cake in return. He's very friendly to us. Came over with his tractor, which has the things on it. Took them all out, put them in a brand new warehouse. And he was quick as a flash. He did the whole thing. It was pouring with rain the whole time, pouring with rain. And then the driver, some of our devotees here speak Ukrainian and Russian, of course. They came out and talked to him and invited him in for prasadam. He came in, took prasadam. And then he revealed to the devotees that one of his best friends is a member of the Hare Krishna movement in Ukraine. He said, I really like the Hare Krishnas, though he's left Ukraine. And he said, please, is there any service I do? And he ended up washing all the pots in the kitchen. You know, he certainly didn't know he was coming. You know, nothing. I mean, it was like it wasn't planned. I mean, it was just someone other Krishna made that arrangement. You know, and then what a beautiful guy. I mean, he was so nice. We all, you know, all together taking pictures. You know, he was so happy to send them back to his wife or whatever it was back in Lithuania, wherever he was living. Yeah, different ways we can engage people according to their qualities. That's the idea. That's preaching. It's not to, you know, deny their qualities, but to engage their qualities. Even everyone's had these experiences. I never forget one New Year's Eve, Harinam in Champs-Élysées in Paris. We're doing Harinam, and you know, one drunk comes up, which is nothing unusual on Christmas Eve. There's nothing but those who misuse substances on the street on New Year's Eve. And anyway, he liked the chanting. He had a bottle of liquor in his hand, unopened, not opened. And he liked it so much, I know he was probably drunk as a lord, he couldn't take any more. And he just kind of, he put the bottle right in front of us, you know, that was his donation. You know. I gave him some small books, and he made off. A few minutes later, another drunk came up and was going crazy, you know. And I said, look, you see that bottle of wine or liquor or whatever it is over there? You put some money in that box, you can take it. He put money in the box, a couple of euros, and took the bottle away. Gave him some books, you know. I mean, what do you do with people like that? You know? Engage them, somehow or another engage them if you can. Ruffians in Krishna's service. All the time this is going on. At least try to give them prasadam or something. Engage people. Yeah. Help them to come above avidya. Above even mundane vidya. A kind of reflection of the transcendental knowledge. Okay, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. What do they do in Falkirk? What do people do there? They work? They don't work, huh? Huh?